welcome to the Let's Talk Mental Health series brought to you by Masiviwe, a movement for mental health. I'm Anele Gcwabe and I'm your host for today. More on Masiviwe. This movement is a group of organizations that are led by the Foundations for Professional Development, working together to make sure that everyone is heard when it comes to mental health. Masiviwe aims to improve knowledge about mental health, break the stigma, and increase access to mental health services. Today, we are talking about the mental health of children and young people. We are joined by Merrishia Singh Naicker, a family therapist. She's also a mother, so she knows what she's talking about. Welcome to the show, Merrishia.
Thank you, Anele. I'm grateful to be here with you. Thank you.
So thank you for agreeing to do this show with us. Masiviwe has produced some short videos as discussion starters on a number of issues in the mental health space. One of our videos is on bullying. Let's watch the video first.
I was bullied from grade 1 until grade 4 about my dark skin complexion. I was then bullied about my hair because my hair was different from everybody's hair. There were 3 boys in my class. 2 held me tight and 1 actually combed my hair to see if it really was my hair.
I was bullied because of my disability called spinal bifida, whereby my legs are not working and I have to use a wheelchair to move around. So they would just mock me and push me so that they knew that I wouldn't run after them.
Maybe I'll have a child so better. Allow paisa go principal. The principal got next.
I felt as if I did not belong. I actually wanted to quit school. I didn't want to go to school anymore. I was unable to be myself. I would always lock myself in the room, sit in the room and cover myself with blankets and just think about the bad words that I was told. You're not beautiful, you're ugly. I actually wanted to commit suicide.
I started having a low self-esteem. At first, I would be like a bubbly person. I would be going out and having fun with other kids and playing.
I am tshwara sharp. Pini gale ke tshwarela ka moara. Ene le nga se botse motho until o tla tshomya ke mo ke mmoditseng gore tabe so.
I saw that this is not who I am. I mean, at the end of the day, you're always cooped up. And that's when I realized that, is this how I want my life to be? So that's when I decided that let me speak to my mom, because I believe that she could actually help me in any situation that I'm going through. And I actually found the help that I needed.
My family decided to take me from home and put me to a special school to stay with the kids as the same disability as mine, so that I could understand myself more, that I'm also a person like them. It's just that I'm different able.
I decided that I should actually start an anti-bullying campaign. That's when I would go to different schools, speak about bullying, teach them what is bullying. So I tell them that they should firstly come out and speak about what happened. In doing so, they should speak to someone that they know they will find help. I also tell them that they should learn how to accept themselves the way they are.
I think they should have welcomed me so that they be friendly with me, so that I can explain to them my situation, and maybe they could learn and teach other people about my condition.
If you see that someone is going through a tough situation, bullying, mental health issues, try to find means on how you could help them, give them suggestions, motivate them. Kind words actually help people to change and become better versions of themselves. Kind words help people to be able to come out of the box and be who they were before they actually went through a traumatic experience.
Now, Merrishia, I'm sure that you must have come across bullying in the work that you do. What was your initial reaction to the stories that we just watched? I mean, that statistic at the beginning really got me on alert. Over 80% of adults who have mental health issues have been bullied as children.
Thank you, Anele. Yes, let me say that was just an amazing video. The courage it firstly took for those three people to share their stories. So I really recognize that, initially just my reaction, but also just how harsh it was for them to go through such a difficult circumstance and incidents as young people. And to know that this is quite common, like you're saying, 80% of people have experienced mental health issues and have been bullied. So it's something that many people in our communities, in our families, are experiencing. And so I really appreciated the courage, but also noticed the pain and the harmful effects of how they shared of what had happened to them.
It's really interesting that you also mentioned the pain. I mean, we don't often pay attention to that, but I found the people in the video so inspirational. I mean, in the way that they handled the situations and how they came through the experience. I don't think I would have done that at their age. What would be your tips for young people who are being bullied at school, at the playground?
So as we watched in the video, these three young people speaking up and sharing their experience, I think the first thing they had to do was, say, hey, I don't want this happening to me. I'm not okay with it. And for any young person going through that is to get to that awareness to say, I'm not okay with this. I'm not happy about it. I don't deserve this. And coming to that space is not often easy because often when you are bullied, you are made to feel like it's your fault. So I also want to say to the young person that there's no blame on you. It's not your fault. And also a lot of shame comes with it. It's why it remains silent as well. That you deserved it or you did something to be targeted, to get this attention, this negative attention, and to know that there is no shame about speaking up and telling somebody about it. So finding somebody that you trust, an adult, somebody that you are able to speak to and that they would listen to your concerns. So speak up about it, break that silence. It's not your fault. There's no blame on you. And there shouldn't be no shame on you as well. So I would say to young people to do that. If a young person feels like I can even stand up to the bully and it's not going to cause further harm, because firstly, it would be to ignore in that specific situation. So they want to get a reaction from you, especially if it's in the playground and at school. Bullies often are using a power play and want to get a reaction from you. So the more reactive you are, the more it entices them to continue. And when you are able to ignore them and move away or get out of that space, it then deters them from continuing. If you are not able to say that or do that, to affirm and say, hey, stop that, I don't like it, is to please go and speak to an adult that you trust, share it with somebody that you know will care for what you are saying and will help you navigate your feelings and what to do in that situation.
There's also what we call cyberbullying. Can you tell us more about cyberbullying? How is it possible? And what are the things to look out for?
Yes, so Anele, cyberbullying has become increased and quite common with many young people and children being on digital platforms. And so it's a form of bullying that takes place on digital platforms like social media, on social media groups. And what happens is that the bullying that you would normally see in person happens in a way here where you are harassed, where you are threatened, where there are rumors maybe shared about you or lies, where there's even content, private messages or pictures that is now posted onto different digital platforms. And, you know, it may think that it's not in person, so it may not have as that, you know, terrible effect, but it can have just as, you know, the impact of it, damaging effect as if it was in person, whether you were being hit or pushed, and sometimes even worse, because as you know, on digital platforms, what goes on there stays on there, or, you know, you won't able to readily take that information away once it's on. So here are some things to look out for. As a young person and has a child on social media platforms or on digital platforms, is to make sure that you are safe on these platforms. You don't often know who you are speaking to at times. You don't always know what people are going to do with the information that you put there. So be cautious about what you share, about information that's personal to you, about pictures. And look, sometimes it's not even a picture that you shared. Sometimes people manipulate it through AI and put things that you aren't even aware of. And so one different way is to be able to, again, limit how your time of how you spend on social media, on platforms, but also when you know, again, that somebody has violated something on a digital platform, is to follow the route again of reporting it, of if it's a specific site, of contacting and making sure that, you know, people know that the digital platform is being misused to harass and bully.
So while we are focused mainly on young people and children today, we do know that bullying does affect adults too. What would your advice be to an adult who feels like they are being bullied, maybe in the workplace, at church, the gym?
Yeah, absolutely. I think as adults, we think, oh no, bullying is, you know, something that happened in our childhood and when we are younger, but it's very common. And especially in our cultural environment or world that's happening now, the different events, we see it all around us, these bullying tactics. And we see the different types and ways of which bullying may take place, even in the workplace. It doesn't always appear in, you know, the ones that happen in the playground, the pushing, the name calling, but it is very common, and it can have serious consequences as well for an adult facing that. Often it's, again, the blame that, oh, I should be able to handle this, you know, oh, I must have done something. I'm older now, or I'm an adult. I shouldn't feel so bad about it. And often this is what happens when someone bullies as well. They make you feel as, it's just a joke, you know, it's just friendly banter. Why are you taking it so seriously? And also there's this gwara culture in many of our communities, you know, that, oh, it's okay, I was just joking with them, I was just gwaraing them. But what really is happening is quite hurtful, it's harmful, and at times harassment. And we are made to feel as adults, no, we should just take it, you know, it's not something that's so serious. So I think, again, for adults to become aware that this is not okay, and I shouldn't be, feeling that I should take this, and acknowledge that what is happening is bullying, to call it out, and to be able to even address it then, to say to the person that's bullying you, I don't appreciate it, I don't like the way that you are doing this is causing harm, this is hurting me, and to explain it to them. And if the person doesn't stop, is then to follow the routes of, you know, the protocols that's available in workplace situations, speaking to HR, speaking again to, you know, somebody that would be able to navigate the situation and work around that. And in church situations or places where there are, you know, authorities in place to say, this is not okay, I didn't appreciate it, it keeps happening, please can we find a way to resolve this?
Let's talk some more mental health. Today we're talking youth and children's mental health. When talking to young children, we found it's sometimes better to refer to feelings or big feelings, as this is easier for them to understand. One of the first steps in talking to someone about their feelings is to encourage them to put a name to the feelings or the emotion. Let's watch this short video in which young people talk about what words like happiness, scared, anger, sadness mean to them.
No, you feel joy. It feels like I would just stand up and just dance around.
Hedgehog and bunny. Try.
My heart literally sinks. I start shaking, but then I freeze.
And you yoga.
Land makes me scared. Go boom boom.
It feels like my heart is beating very fast.
Mama no baba mebala. Lento le yangidla phakathi enhlizweni.
I feel like I just want to throw pillows, punch pillows, those type of things.
Ngizwa Steve, ngivalelekile khoneni yona.
Ngikwatisa ukuthi abantu bakhuluma ngomunye umuntu nge-background yakhe.
Is when I see my father and my mother trying to attack each other.
Just feels cold and empty.
Yonke into imnyama phela kukhanya kanti ukhanya kuzoza kuvele nini.
Losing something or someone you love is when someone put me on peer pressure. I mean, he's telling me bad things about me, emotional abuse.
I'll write about what made me angry. Sometimes I'll do jumping jacks.
You say to yourself in your head, you tell yourself good things like you can do it.
I can feel better when I sing. Putsayayenze, phela sicolelan amaputsayayenze.
Besha kunitshela papa mithi makatami enkwata.
Into engenza ukuthi ngibe ngcono ukujiva.
I just dance.
Pop 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 pop.
Cuteness overload. Those children are very good at saying what the various big feelings mean to them. I'm not sure I was able to do that at that age. We're still hanging out with Merrishia Singh Naicker, a family therapist, to unpack a bit more about young people and mental health. Merrishia, what's the youngest client you've had to talk to in terms of how they're feeling, and how did that go?
Thank you, Anele. So the youngest client that I had was a 3-year-old, and it was a young child who was experiencing the family disruptions because their parents were going through a divorce. And as you saw in the video, children are quite real about their feelings and quite animated about their feelings. And so I do love working with children because they are able to, in many ways, at that tender age, able to express themselves before we kind of get to telling them, don't do this, don't say that. And so, yeah, that went really well. And they are able to, sometimes be expressive, especially when you do play therapy with them. So for that client at 3 years old, playing with them, playing with the ball, playing with Play-Doh, a lot of talk happens and they're quite animated. And so I do enjoy it when they are able to do those things, be able to be expressive.
Yeah, I mean, kids are expressive. I'm a mother to a 3-year-old myself, so I understand just how expressive they can be. And I think that sometimes as parents, we underestimate just how much emotions can impact young people. And as parents, we try to shield them from things that might hurt them. For example, not talking to them about death, or not having them come to a family member's funeral. What advice do you have about the way we talk and the type of words that we use when talking to young people and children about their mental health?
You're quite right, Anele, in that, in many of our families, there's a way where we want to kind of shield, like you say, protect our children from the big bad world, if you want to say, and the experiences that they might face or that they are facing. And in one way, I understand that we do want to protect them, but in some ways, it's also dysfunctioning them, which means that we are not being able to be honest, open, and sincere with them. And it really takes that. It's about being open and honest and sincere, because children know when you are trying to hide something. They are able to pick it up. They may not know what's going on, but they know, okay, my mom or my caregiver's acting different. They're not quite themselves. I can see something is going on. I can feel what's going on as well. And they do pick up those cues from you in unconscious ways as well. And you may think, oh, no, I'm doing this to protect them. I'm doing that, so that they won't, more harm won't come to them. But in that way, it also doesn't allow them to build the skills and resilience to deal with difficulties and challenges and even crisis, because these are some things that we will experience throughout our lives. And so what's important is then to make sure that we do speak openly and honestly about it. We use simple language, child-appropriate language, and also for their age. If they are younger, to be simple about it. When we're talking, for example, the one about death or grief, we may say, oh, they've gone to the sweet by and by, or they passed away. But to say, they've died, to use the words that it won't create more mystery around it, where things are left, for their own imagination. And so that's important. It's also important to look at the right time. For example, if it's around grief and the funeral again, there's big feelings. People might be crying. And during funerals, there's a lot of drama. People are handling grief in all different ways, from some being very vocal about it, some crying loudly, some being very quiet and withdrawn. And so before they even get there, to sit with them and say, these are the things that you will see. People will handle grief in different ways. You may feel like you are handling it in a different way. You may want to cry, and that's okay. You may feel sad, and that's okay. You may feel angry and you want to throw things, but there are better ways to deal with it and handle it. And so also finding the right time so that they can ask questions, they feel it's safe, they feel comfortable. Where suppose you get to the funeral and now they're asking questions, or they're seeing a whole lot of things and they're not sure and they are anxious. So prepare them beforehand. So again, be open, sincere, honest about different things that are going on, whatever the health issue is, the mental health issue is, or the situation is, making sure you use simple language that's appropriate, and also using the terms. For example, if you're talking about anxiety and worry, use the term anxiety and explain to them, what does that mean? It means when you worry and your heart is beating faster, like we saw in the video. And then also making sure that you have the right time where they are feeling safe, where they are comfortable, and you creating that container for that safety and for courageous talk to happen as well.
Before we wrap up, can you tell us what your biggest concern is when it comes to children and young people's mental health, and what should we be doing about it?
Thank you, Anele. I think the biggest concern for me is the silencing, because of the stigma that's attached to mental health. I think in many spaces, you know, we feel like, oh, it's also shameful. Don't tell about it. Don't talk about it. And sometimes we don't even recognize or acknowledge that this is a mental health issue because we were probably brought up in our own upbringing not to recognize and acknowledge that these are real problems. You know, it's similar to physical illness. Mental illness or mental health conditions and issues are also needs to be just as important.
As you've heard from Merrishia, it's okay not to be okay. There is no shame in not being okay, and children are full human beings with real feelings. We've come to the end of today's episode. Please join us next time for another episode of Let's Talk Mental Health.